Good morning and welcome to the fresh edition of Better Thyself. Have you ever seen or been involved in a mental stew? By mental stew, I mean the emotion of fear, hurt, and control. These three emotions conflicting, somehow connected, mixed together in your brain, dwell on it, and make you wonder what is life. It is funny that old patterns are very hard to break. And these emotions are born out of all the old patterns of life. If you're feeling this stew, it can be because of a simple reason that somebody didn't text you back. Somebody said something which upset you. You're concerned whether your kids or your parents would ever change. You would ever regain your old physical health or something else. All these three emotions are basically interconnected, as I say, and you need to let them go. But it's easier said than done. I have been telling you mindfulness, divert your mind, focus on something else. And somehow or the other, people have been coming back to me and telling me that it's very difficult. Breaking the pattern is a difficult choice. However hard you may try to, you cannot stay in the state of your mind or distracted. What you need is a cryo room, a human freezer, like Tony Robbins does. Step into that, and when you're doing that new activity, you might find your mind still going back to the old things. The chances are that it's either coming from fear or feeling like you are losing control. It's amazing how subconscious works, but if you are feeling that, there's no need to get worried. You can dissolve these emotions of fear, hurt, and control by adopting a certain attitude. It might be difficult, but it's not impossible. Basically, you need a mentor in case yours is a hard case, a complex case. Let's take up these emotions. What is fear? We are always afraid of things. We are afraid of commitment, and we are afraid of being abandoned. We are afraid of shocks, and some people may be afraid of cockroaches. And still there are some people who are afraid of people themselves. They hesitate to go into a crowded room. Other people are afraid of solitude. What shall happen to me when I'm alone? Things will never change. It's no use thinking that you're going to be fearless. You can never be absolutely fearless. One fear or the other would always be gnawing at your mind. And whatever you are afraid of is presented to you. Your consciousness breaks a glass, hits a panic button, and creates instant anxiety. So what's the reaction to this? The reaction is that you react by avoiding it or running away from it. Your subconscious is trying to protect you from what is really happening. In case this fear is stunting your growth, the subconscious doesn't know what's real and what's imagined. The real fear and the imagined fear have the same impact as far as your emotional reaction is concerned. When you are afraid of reacting, that can be a dry marker for you to work on. What? If you took a moment and try to analyze your fear, ask yourself certain questions. And once you have been able to answer the questions, you are on the way to conquer your fear. You may realize by conducting this self-analysis test whether your fear is a genuine one or a shadow cast by your own hand. So what common questions you can ask? What if I never become successful? If you are a person living as a marginal person, what if I can't pay rent and I become homeless? What if I never found a D1, the one factor that changes my life? Success means freedom. Even to design a life according to you want to live. And that desire for freedom, desire for living your life, creates hurdles once you are beset with the fears. Success means impacting others. It means doing something we are passionate about. It means having authentic, meaningful relationship. So, you can be successful today, but the new definitions can be powerful way to make you less suffering. Redefine your fears, your emotions, your successes. And when you are redefining, quite possibly, in this process of redefining, your fear would be annihilated, because what you earlier defined as failure is now redefined as success. It's all comparative. So redefine fear and you would find that you're dissolving this. Then, second reason for being fear is, what if this happens, what would happen? And you don't find the one, you believe you're worthless. No. You may not achieve X thing, but you may be able to achieve Y thing. Trying things to make your worth makes the stakes heavy. And that's what you are afraid of. Change the stakes. Change the focus. And then, what are you afraid? You are afraid that you might blow the shit up. You allow your imagination to distort or exaggerate a problem and situation till you are in a state of panic. And when you panic, you make good decisions. And that is where you have to redefine the cause of the fear. And in the process of redefining, you find that the fear would have dissolved the way salt can dissolve in hot water. But having dissolved the fear, the sense of being hurt, the sense of being injured, wounded is always there. We human beings are strange creatures. We tend to forget our players. We tend to forget the happy things of life, but we dwell in our hurt. Our hurt, our pain comes back to us again and again. We hate and resent people who caused us pain. And this resentment feeds the hurt, prevents it from healing. It's like a wound you are having. You keep on removing the scab and the wound would never heal. So, if you're hurt, ask yourself, what hurt you? Not who hurt you. Who is immaterial? Who can be X today can be Y tomorrow and Z the day after. So what is the problem is, what has hurt you? And if you're harboring anger and resentment towards the person who caused the hurt, once you analyze what, half of your pain is gone. Because then you would say, okay, everybody has the right to think in a different way. So the thought process would absolve the person from causing you hurt. And when the person has hurt you simply because of his different approach, of his different perception, of his different values, then the person can be ignored. It's very simple. If you harbor anger and resentment towards the cause, it will be a problem. If you read it to a person, you can burst out. So the best thing is change the cause, analyze it, and throw in the garbage. And one thing more. Remember, hurt is not something to stew about. Understand the wiring of the human beings, who they are, what has been their circumstances, what is the cultural issue. And when you put them in the context of their thought pattern, the sense of hurt would decrease. You might quite possibly become more charitable about them, but your hurt would be less. Some people say, forgive them. I don't believe in forgiving. But forget, yes. Forgiving means that you are placing yourself on a higher pedestal than the others are. You might be on a higher pedestal, but still, as a human being, you are wired the same way as others are. And that process of wiring would become disconnected if you start indulging in this superhuman quality of forgiving. The people who say they are forgiving, the people who are doing them wrong are either hypocrites or dishonest. A human being is a combination of three animals: the tiger, the monkey, and the camel. And the camel is revenge. You never forget the hurt caused to you. So, you cannot forgive, but yes, by placing it in the context, you can forget or lessen the impact. Then the third most troublesome emotion is the loss of control. We all struggle with this. We all have expectations, how we want the things to happen, how we want people to see us. Anytime there's a loss of control, it will result in anxiety, panic, and lumps in our skin. The smoothness of the life would be gone. Being in control makes you feel safe. Letting go terrifies you. Letting go implies the unknown. And we human beings don't like the unknown. So the question then is, how do we let the things go? What happens when we lose control, or what should happen? How should we react? First ask yourself what you are trying to control and why. What does it mean if you let it go? Does something happen to you if you don't? And if so, what? What do you believe if you let it go? If you answer it honestly, you would find that most of the things that you wanted to have control about, in reality, are things which you don't care. And secondly, you would also realize that you wanted to control things that are beyond your control, and so why be fussy about that? Your life won't be over if you let the things go by. You won't become homeless. Your family won't disown you. Actually, you'll be better if you are not carrying the burden of control anymore. You are letting yourself free by letting others go free. You know, child would never survive if the umbilical cord is not cut. But once the parents have cut the umbilical cord, still they keep on being tied. They don't know that each human being has a space of his or her own. And when you try to control, you're encroaching on the space. It's criminal trespassing in the spatial territory of the other person. Mostly people want to control two things. What others think about you, your desire to control stems from you wanting them to see the things from your perspective. And your relationship to a certain way of everything fits into the definition of what you think proper. Or you want someone to change. So you want to control them slowly and steadily. But then there's a reaction. So you lose the control. You can control a child, but when a child becomes a teenager, your control will become less. The child becomes an adult, it will be still less. And in case you can understand that a change in the relationship, change in the place, change in the milieu, in the environment, means your control would change. And if you accept it, we'll be letting things go. You know, imagine if you are less afraid from your past hurt. You are able to get all the shit out that you thought you can't. And this controlling freak that you want to be is no longer potent force in you. How much less anxious you would be. And if you are less anxious, you will not feel fear. So these interconnected connections can be done. I'll tell you definitely. You'll be a different person if you can do that. You would attract different things. You'll have more opportunities, healthier relationships, and you would start looking at the world in a different way, in a better way. You should go from narrow to wide, and your feelings of empathy would be contagious. Learn into your fears, lean into your fears, rip them apart. Start the process of forgetting, not forgiving, so that you can heal. And let go the things you can't control. Don't bother about that. It's so simple. It's not easy, but it's not complicated. It's a process. And it starts with a decision. And that decision depends on you. Decide today, and you would see your fears, your hurt, your loss of control become things of the past, and you'll be a much better person. Thank you.